Yo, what's going on YouTube? And today I'm bringing you another NHL franchise mode video with a little twist. Today we are going to be doing a challenge with Stanley Gaming to see who can win the most cups with an expansion team. So in this challenge we are both going to be starting with a brand new expansion team and drafting the worst players possible and to see who can grow their franchise and who can win the most Stanley Cups in a certain amount of years. We have set the franchise modes to 25 years. We might go 15, we might go 20, or we might go the full 25. In this challenge, we will both be starting with brand new expansion teams, drafting the worst players possible from each team, and seeing who can turn that into the most successful franchise, winning the most Stanley Cups. Each video is going to start at the NHL entry draft, minus episode 1 we'll have to start with the expansion draft, and we'll go into the end of the NHL playoffs. So, without further ado, let's hop right in. Well, I figured I'd take a moment to welcome you to the Seattle Storm Bears franchise. You have your full plate full with the upcoming expansion draft, but I'll touch base again in a few days before the draft itself after I get a sense of who the other teams are going to make available. So you heard that right, I'm using the Seattle Storm Bears. That is my favorite franchise mode in the history of YouTube NHL franchise mode from none other than the legend himself, X-Tech. So here you can see the results of the draft lottery. Columbus moved up from 5 to 1. Seattle from 9 to 2, that's the Kraken. It's not us, that might get a little confusing sometimes. San Jose down from 1 to 3. Chicago down 2 to 4. And we went down from 3 to 5. Here we go, let's start the expansion draft. So I'm not going to show myself making every pick for every team, but we'll start with the Winnipeg Jets. And all we're going to be doing is just going the worst overall player. And eventually, towards the end, it will just be the worst position player that we need. But you get the idea, it's just going to be the worst player from every team. You cannot make this up, folks. Edmonton leaves McDavid, Bouchard, and Ekholm all available. I don't know why they wouldn't protect McDavid or Bouchard. Ekholm kind of makes sense, but interesting to see. Obviously, we can't take them. We'll be taking Kent. Here we are, the last team we're going to be picking from, Washington. We're going to be taking Spencer Smallman, and with that, our draft is complete. We'll take a look here. You can see some of these names, very few of them you might recognize. So just quickly before we go look at what terrible players we actually drafted, just wanted to highlight this first draft. It's all, for the most part, EA generated players. Because we are using a custom roster, the same one for the Flames franchise mode, there are some created players like Petteri Rimponen. He's created or at least edited, so he's usually always here in this first draft. And as you can see, it's pretty much a lot of nothing because it's, with it being a custom roster, you're not going to see guys like Celebrini here. It's all just EA generated players. But this is interesting. It's too bad we didn't get the first overall pick. Jackson Franson here, medium franchise defenseman. That could have been an interesting way to start this year. So here's our team, starting with the centers. You got Perry, Mysak, Bowers, Burke, and Dickinson. We have Senny, Rustalainen, Barron, Gettinger, and Mutter at left wing. At right wing, we have Belize, Klimovich, Smallman, and Hodgson. Defensively, Kemp, Hoffenmeyer, Lundmark, Sweezy, Runanen, O'Rourke, and with goaltenders we have Hellberg and Swaycho. Now let's hop into the draft and see who we're going to select at 5th overall. So first overall, obviously the franchise defenseman. Seattle drafts C. Turris, center grinder, medium elite. The Sharks draft defenseman Langfield, medium elite. And the Blackhawks end up with top 9 forward, medium potential, 65 overall Burkholz. Ouch. And there's not too much to pick here. I think just the logical thing to do is take Rimpinen, even though he's a goalie. His reflexes A-, puck control A-, and athletic B. 3 years to the NHL, that's actually pretty good for a goalie. It's just the smart thing to do with nobody really being scouted. You definitely don't want to be shooting on a guy who ends up to be top 9 like the Blackhawks did. So get back over here to goalies, and we'll take Rimpinen with the 5th overall pick, the first selection in Seattle Storm Bears history. So I went ahead and just simmed the rest of the first round, and as you can see, not a lot of talent was there. Like 13th overall, the Flyers get a bottom 6 forward medium potential. Like there was nobody, so I think Rimpinen was definitely the right choice. There's been a few low elites, but even at the end of the first round, you got AHL top 6, AHL top 2. This is just a terrible draft all the way around. So with the 3rd pick in the 2nd round, we're just going to sort by potential, and whoever appears to be the most scouted. Nobody's really that good. Here we go, Popov. Low elite, that's pretty good. Just gonna sim the rest of this first draft because we're not gonna get any steals. And we'll just jump right into the off season. So I didn't think there was gonna be any contracts, but apparently Ruotsalainen and Ruunanen need re-upped. So we're just gonna offer them exactly what they're asking for. I want to make sure we keep all the guys we drafted here, at least for the first year. And Hellberg, goaltending wise, we're going to make sure to sign him as well. And that's everybody, so we'll just sim right to free agency and see where we're here we are in free agency. It looks very similar to our Flames franchise mode. There's not a lot here. We are using the option to add a contract year, so the free agency class didn't change. Not a lot going on here. We're not going to sign anybody yet. We're going to go all the way till September, and then I will sign guys just to fill out the AHL roster, with the exception that the guys we sign, they don't play in the NHL the first year. That first year, I really just only want to use the players that we drafted. Here we are into September now. Here are our lines for year number 1. We should be the worst team in the league by far. This is not good. The defense looking even better. And then here we are, goalies Hellberg and Sawchenko. I'm not going to mess with these lines at all. I don't care about chemistry. None of these guys have potential. None of them are going to grow. We just want to get through this first year. I've actually decided, it didn't pop up that I need to sign contracts, so I'm actually going to leave the AHL team alone as well. Let them just be as bad as they can be, and we won't add anyone until we get to the draft or free agency of 2025. Also, I'm not going to mess with the scouts either. I don't know if Stanley's also going to do that. I just don't want to mess with the scouts because this year 1 draft, everybody knows what's there. Especially being a custom roster, I know who the players are edited to be and who's going to be good, so there's no point. I'm not going to mess with coaching staff, not going to mess with scouts, not going to mess with adding players or anything until we get past this first year. Just let this first year be a quick sim through, see where we draft, who we're going to add to the team for video number 2. With there being nothing left to go through, nothing left to show, we're going to get right into the season sim. I'm just going to go straight to December 1st. I'm not sure how much of the sim I'm going to show, if I'm going to show it all, or if I'm going to just skip to different parts. Here we are, our first meeting with the coach. I'm leaving it to him. I'm going to be hands off. There's nothing, our roster is not going to compete at all. There's no point. Just let us have some faith in our coach. Again, I could use these draft picks. I could make some trades. I don't think it's a good idea. We want to just be as bad of a team as we can, maybe win 5 games, and hopefully get ourselves a top 2 pick. I know this first draft is a little bit weaker compared to 26 draft and the 27 draft. Obviously, in that 26 draft, we're really going to be eyeing McKenna. Like, we want to have the first overall pick then. In our first game in franchise history, a 7-1 loss to the Winnipeg Jets. We are on a 3-game losing streak to start the season. We're gonna have to see who we're gonna get our first win against. I would imagine it'd be a team like the Sharks, one of the bottom feeders, maybe the Ducks. Yeah, Florida steamrolls us 9-1, going into Vegas 6-0. As you can see, we're just doing a lot of losing, and I'll pick this back up either at December 1st or after we get. I stopped the season sim. We got our first win against the Chicago Blackhawks, a 2-1 win, which is funny because that's Stanley's favorite team. We're gonna go ahead and look at the box score and see who scored the game-winning goal for the first win in franchise history. Here we are, Seattle Storm Bears versus the Blackhawks. 3 stars of the game. Hellberg made 34 saves. Spencer Knight made 31 saves, and Belize had 1 goal. We're gonna check out all events just so we can see who had the game-winning goal. Pare scored. Donato tied it in the second, and Belize got his 2nd goal of the season for the game winner to give the Seattle Storm Bears their first win. Here we are at December 1st. Didn't get any more wins. We are currently 1-24-1. Hellberg, 23 games played with the 1 win, 860 save percentage with a 5.91 goals against. Forward points leader Travis Barron. Defensively, Hoffenmeyer has 10. Travis Barron with 9 goals, and Senny with 9 assists. Goalie wins, Hellberg was the only one. Leading the league, you have Kucherov with 52 points in 25 games. Goal leader is Pasta with 31 goals in 24 games. And then you have Jake Gensel with 33 assists in 25 games. And Vasilevsky leading the league with 16 wins. Now, I'm not going to show any other player stats because I don't care about how any of these players are doing, because most likely none of them are going to be around at year number 2. But I do want to take a look here and see if the scouts have done anything. You can see Schaefer, Misa, Hagens, Martone, Frondell. These are all guys we know, they're real life prospects. But at the very top, they have Christopher Frazee. This has to be an EA generated player. I don't think I've ever heard of him. So this person has the potential to be franchise potential, since Schaefer usually goes number 1 from my experience with this draft class. So hopefully we can get that first overall pick if Frazee is going to be medium franchise. And it's nice that the scouts haven't uncovered him. I'd like for it to maybe be a surprise. We might have to look at their stats and see if we're just going to go on a whim with what he put up in his league, or if we're just going to take a known quantity. And now that we showed the draft class, we're just going to sim all the way up to past the trade deadlines. We'll check out to see if there was any blockbuster deals. Again, 10-1 loss, 8-2 loss. We're clearly the worst team in the league. There we go. Our second win. 2-1 win against the San Jose Sharks. See, more or less, I don't think we're going to get more than 5 wins this year. I'll be surprised if we even get 5 wins. If anything interesting happens, I will pick it up after the deadline. If not, I'll see you then. I decided to enter the trade deadline as a seller, maybe see if we get any offers, see who's available. Maybe there's a prospect available that we could trade for. Not really seeing anything so far. Obviously, most of these guys are just vets. You got Ethan Del Mastro from the Blackhawks here, top 60 high. Wyatt Kaiser, top 60. You got Ryan Johnson, top 60 high. So yeah, not really anything. Couple of top 6 forwards here. Nikita Artemonov, 74 top 6 at 19. They want a top 4D in return. We obviously do not have that, so I'm not going to make that trade. Scroll all the way back down here and see if there's anything else. If anybody wants to get rid of somebody for a pick, we can make that happen. Cole Eisherman, that would be an awesome player to add, but they want a first line forward. We don't have that, so yeah, there's nobody really here. It was worth a look. We're not gonna get any trade offers. Nobody wants our garbage, so I'll exit the trade deadline and we'll pick this up at the end of the regular season. Here we are at the end of the regular season. You can see we ended with a 6-2 loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Shout out to the Machine TV. And yeah, not a good regular season for us. We were 9th in the Pacific Division, 376-3 for a total of 9 points. All we can see here, forward points, Brett Seney, 47 points, Hoffenmeyer, 38 points, Seney with 20 goals, and Hoffenmeyer, 31 assists. Pretty good point totals, honestly. Pretty surprised that players were even putting that up. Hellberg got 2 wins, which means Swanchko ended up getting 1. And wow, 82 games played. Nikita Kucherov, 171 points. Braden Point had 155. Rantanen, 151. Gensel, 146. And Connor McDavid with 145. You have Nathan MacKinnon with a whopping 96 goals in 82 games played. I do believe that is an NHL record. I believe Gretzky only had 92 as the most, so NHL record for Nathan MacKinnon. You have McDavid with 89 goals, Pasternak with 87, Matthews with 83, and Rantanen with 82. Assists, Nuge had 106 assists, you had Gensel with 99, and Cale Makar with 98. And for wins, not surprised with the amazing season they had. 50 wins in only 64 games played for Vasilevsky. Blackwood for Colorado had 49, and Jake Ottinger with 43 for Dallas. I want to take a look at the draft, but before we do that, I want to take a look at the record book, and I'm curious about for single game highs. So Travis Barron had a hat trick. Seney had 3 assists, and 1 game Perry had 4 points, and Hellberg has the franchise record with 46 saves in a single game. And I believe all these players, if not most of them, are rookies, but you can see for the rookies, Travis Barron's 15 goals, Hoffenmeyer's 31 assists and 38 points, and we didn't have a rookie goalie. And then yeah, Cini with 20 goals, Hoffenmeyer's 31 assists, points, Cini with 47, penalty minutes, Travis Barron had 194, and Sawchenko has the only shutout in franchise history. And another quick look at the draft class, turns out Frazee was not medium elite. Him and Schaefer, not medium franchise, sorry, he is indeed medium elite, same as Schaefer. I believe Misa, Martone, Higgins, Frondell are all medium elite. Smith should be as well. Eklund should be. You can see O'Brien is elite high, but it's not fully scouted, so he's probably medium elite. I think all the way to around Potter and Reshitny. Maybe Martin is medium elite, and then you'd start seeing your top 6 highs, your top 4D high. So yeah, nobody really scouted. Let's see if we got any gems. Nope, no gems, no busts, so hopefully we get that first overall pick. Really quickly, I just want to show the playoff tree. You have Dallas playing Winnipeg, Avs playing Kraken, Oilers versus the Canucks, and to round off the West, the Golden Knights versus the Predators. And in the East, you have the Capitals versus the Rangers, the Blue Jackets versus the Hurricanes, the Leafs playing Florida, and the Lightning playing the Bruins. I will come back to this at the end of the playoffs, and we'll see who beat who and who wins the cup. Now here we are at the end of the playoffs. You can see the Tampa Bay Lightning are your Stanley Cup champions, beating the Avalanche in 6 games, a rematch of the 2022 finals, and this time the Lightning get revenge. You can see Tampa Bay beat the Bruins, then they went on to beat the Leafs, and finally they beat the Hurricanes. All those series in 7 games, where the Avalanche swept the first 2 rounds against Kraken, and Dallas had a tight 7-game series against the Canucks before falling to the Lightning. Individual awards, Kucherov with back-to-back Art Ross trophies, You have Kucherov winning the Hart, Makar as the Norris winner, Lady Byng to Nugent Hopkins, Lane Hudson wins the Calder, Kucherov is your Conn Smythe Trophy winner, Aiden Hill wins the Vezina, as well as the William M. Jennings. Bill Masterton goes to Lundmark, Seattle Storm Bears first award in franchise history, attaboy Lundmark. Dean Evanson winning the Jack Adams, Kopitar with the Frank J. Selk Trophy, Kucherov with the Ted Lindsay, and last but certainly not least, Nathan MacKinnon winning the Maurice Rocket Richard. And unfortunately, we lose the draft lottery. San Jose moves up 3-1, Pittsburgh moves up from 7-2, and we drop from 1-3. Chicago drops from 2-4, and then to round out the top 5, Philadelphia falls from 4-5. We'll go view the draft class again now. And you can see not a lot scouted. 7th D high for Smith. Obviously it's 7 projected. He's better than that. At 3rd, we're probably looking at Misa or Haggins. Probably going to lean a bit more towards Misa since he's a bit bigger. A little bit bigger, and I think his potential is just going to be better for us. Hopefully he's going to be a bit better two-way than Haggins, who's going to be purely offensive. You also have Porter Martone, 6'3". He's a power forward. He'd be a good option for us as well. But I think I'm going to lean more towards Misa. Then again, just depends. That's assuming Frazee and Schaefer are 1 and 2 like I think they will. So we'll cap this video off, just seeing if there's anybody of significance who retired. You got Brent Burns retiring with Carolina, Eric Johnson retiring in Colorado, and then you got Riley Nash, Leo Komarov in free agency, Brendan Smith. See if there's any goalies really quick. Just Jonas Enroth with free agency. And Brent Burns is now a coach, so maybe that's something we look at in the offseason. And Zach Delpy is now a scout. These coaches retired. I'm just reading to make sure none of them are with us, so that's good. We don't have to worry about that. And we are gonna just continue simming. We aren't gonna do draft class interviews in this video. So, and this is gonna be the end of episode number 1. Now, this series is being pre-recorded, so I'm not going to ask you to leave any comments about suggestions on moves you think we should make, but give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this series, if it's something you guys are really interested in seeing. I hope it is. It's a fun concept. A big thank you to Stanley Gaming for asking me to do this with him. This was his idea, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, just leave your thoughts down below. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for giving me your time, and YouTube will see you in the next one.